Look again in verse 35, and we'll read down through 4:2. For whoever does the will of God is my brother and my sister and mother. So he makes this statement again. The will of God is my primary focus here. And then I want you to see what he does. And again, he began to teach by the sea, and a great multitude was gathered to him, so that he got into a boat and sat in the sea, and the whole multitude was on the land facing the sea. Then he taught them many things by parables, and said to them in his teaching. And then again, he goes on with that teaching. So there's two things to end this sermon this morning. There's two things that I want us to understand were the will of God for Jesus in his life, what Jesus' mission and purpose was. And the first one is simply this. It was the multitude. Look in verse 1 of chapter 4. And again he began to teach by the sea, and a great multitude was gathered to him. Jesus would not leave the multitude to go out and speak with his family, because people, God's will for Jesus was people. Do we hear that, church? God's will for Jesus was people. He came to save sinners. He came to call men to repentance. He came to love and show mercy and grace. He came for people. You say, okay, what's the big deal? The big deal is this. Too many times in churches, we inadvertently take our focus off of people. Because sometimes it becomes, just this week, we had water running in the door and trees growing in the gutters. The focus was on a building. In a month or so, we're going to have to make a budget. You see, this Wednesday, and you're invited, by the way, this Wednesday, we start back our Wednesday night ministries. Well, what am I going to teach, and what are we going to do, and what activities are we going to do, and how we're going to do this, and how we're going to do that? Listen, all of those things, we do all of those things. Why? People. Jesus came to love people. Not budgets, not buildings, not programs. People. Now, do we need those things? Sure. Are those things wrong? No. But again, we can't take our eyes off of the people around us. And certainly when we leave these doors, we can't take our eyes off of the people that are around us, can we? And so Jesus came for the multitude. His focus was on them. His focus was on their need, and their greatest need was to know him. Friends, the greatest need of every person that you meet in this world today is to know Jesus and to know him better. There is no greater need.